Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to give you a little bit of a makeup look that I guess I'm calling the minimal mom makeup. I don't know. You certainly don't have to be a mom to wear this makeup, but this is just sort of what I have put together for those days where I really want to put on makeup, but maybe I don't have time to do foundation. Maybe I don't have time to do the full face. I know a lot of people have these types of videos here on YouTube. They usually call them no makeup looks or something like that. This is certainly not no makeup, but it is definitely minimal, especially for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you. But the thing that I'm going to do with you today is I'm going to take you through all the steps that I would do and tell you the ones that I would do every single time and some of the ones that I would maybe not do every single time. So, you know, I'll take you through and say, okay, well, this is the thing I would do if I had an extra minute, or this is the thing I'd do if I had a little bit of extra time here. Because the reality is I don't have to do anything. I go about plenty of days without any makeup on and just go out and do things with my daughter. But some days I just want to add a little bit on. I want to feel a little more put together. And sometimes that can be as simple as one little step. And if I have a little extra time or I want to do a little bit more, then I can add on a few extra steps. So these are all optional steps. So if you want to see how I put together my minimal mom makeup, then just keep on watching. All right, so let's start from sort of the beginning, and I'll tell you which things are ones that I do every single time I'm going to do this minimal makeup and ones that are a little more optional and sometimes depend on how my skin is. Like right now you can see I've got a little bit of a blemish here. It also may depend on how much time I have. So one thing that I always do every single time is I use a corrector underneath my eyes. So I love the Bobbi Brown one. This is in Peach Bisque, and as you can see, I've used a ton of this. I love this. And the reason why I love this so much, not only does it cancel out the blue tones underneath your eyes, as you'll be able to see, I'll do it on one eye and then I'll leave the other eye. So it helps brighten up the under eye. It helps cancel out those blue tones. But it also, even though it's got a peachy tone to it, and you know, they have lots of different shades of this, you have to get the right shade for you. I love that this looks so natural. So I feel like I can use this and not feel like I need to put a concealer on top if I don't want to. I certainly can, but it's not going to look so unnatural like some of these like orange tone ones or like really peachy tone ones. You know, you can't just wear it by itself. And I'll sometimes put this on so that you can see the difference. It's not like gonna totally cover it up. It's not magic, but it does make a big difference. It really brightens everything up under there. Can you tell? But it still looks natural enough that I can just wear this by itself, and I'll sometimes put this on and nothing else. So this is as like minimal as it gets right here, is I'll sometimes put this on if I don't have time to do anything or I don't want to do anything, but I feel like I look really tired. I'll sometimes take this and I'll just put this under my eyes. You know, I can even, because this is like a more natural tone, I can even take this and put it like around my nose where I get red, anywhere on my face, and it just, you know, it conceals a little bit. Even though it's a corrector, it does work really well other parts of the face, and it still looks natural, and it won't look like I have anything else going on. See how nice that looks? I really do like the way that that looks underneath my eyes. I think that it makes a very big difference. Then if I have a little more time and if I feel like I need to conceal other parts of my face, I'll take a concealer, and there are two that I like. I like the Laura Mercier one. I have it in the shade 2. It's the Secret Concealer. And then I also like the NARS Soft Matte Concealer. And I have vanilla. This is a little bit light for me, especially right now, but it certainly will work underneath my eyes. So I'm going to take the Laura Mercier one, which is a little bit darker, and I'll put a little bit around my nose, a little bit on my blemish, and if I were to have any others, obviously. You know, and I get a little bit of redness on my cheeks. So I'll do that. And I certainly don't need to, but just to show you, if I wanted to conceal my outer eyes even a little bit more, then I could go in with this one. I could go in with the Laura Mercier one too, but this one is actually a little better under my eyes, and really just a very tiny amount because this has a lot of coverage. So you don't necessarily need this and the corrector, but just to kind of show you what that looks like. And then most days I would probably go right in with a powder, mostly just to set some of this concealer because I do have more combo skin, so this wouldn't last super well if I didn't powder it. But also, you know, I could use this as basically a powder foundation. It depends obviously what powder you're using, but I usually go in with a flesh tone powder so that I'm basically adding a little extra coverage as well. If I have a little more time and I want to look a little more put together, I like to use a foundation that's a very light coverage and one that I can use with my fingers. And I like this one for that, the Makeup Forever Water Blend. This is a very light coverage foundation, and a lot of people don't like this, and I think part of the reason they don't like this is because they don't know how to use this. Honestly, you cannot use this with a sponge. I've seen a lot of people do that. This is mostly water. I mean, you can't do that. It's just gonna soak up the water. And it's very light coverage, and it really does look a lot better with your fingers. I'm gonna take off my rings actually to do this so they don't get all up in my rings. But you know, you shake this really well too. You have to definitely shake it out. It just looks really skin-like, but it adds a little bit of something, which is what I like. I kind of pat it in. I actually like doing it that way. Especially if I've added, you know, concealer in some places. I don't really want to go in and rub too much because then I'll take that away. And once you kind of get it to where you want it to be, it just looks like skin. It doesn't look like foundation, but it just adds a little bit of extra coverage and evens out my skin tone a little bit. And it's not really gonna cover any blemishes because, you know, it isn't full coverage, it isn't even medium coverage. I don't even think you can really get it up to medium coverage, but it's still really, you know, makes the skin look nice, and I really do enjoy this. Again, you have to kind of know how to use it though. You know, when I was looking at this in Sephora, the girl that recommended it to me, you know, she told me, use your fingers, don't use a brush. I mean, you could. I would certainly go for a brush before I would go for a sponge, but it still really should be applied with your fingers. I see my imperfections. It's not like covering anything up, but it evens out my skin a little bit. I really like the way that looks. I'm gonna go wash my hands. So then either way I go in with my powder, whether I use that foundation or not, and I'll use a little bit less if I did go in with the foundation because I don't need to go in with too much. And I don't mind my blemish showing through just a little bit, especially if I'm going for a more natural look, just because, I mean, that's my skin. So I don't like having a blemish, but if I have one, that's just kind of the way that it goes. And see, it still looks like skin, but a little more perfected. Now, unless I'm literally just putting on that corrector and mascara, or just the corrector and no mascara, I usually do something to my brows. And I don't typically just go for a brow gel just because my brows look really uneven if I don't. That's just the way that they are. But I can be a little more minimal with the brow pencil before going in with the brow gel. I'm not really great about doing this in the viewfinder, but I will kind of still show you what I'm talking about. Now, I'll underline here. You know, I'll definitely make sure and draw in a little more of a tail because that's where my brows are really sparse. You have to kind of figure out where your brows are sparse, if they are, you know, and then just kind of perfect them that way. If you feel like you can leave your brows, then go for it. If you feel like you need to fill in your brows to look put together, well, then you should do that. So I'll fill in my brows the way that I would on a minimal day, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is basically what I do. I fill them in enough that I feel like they have shape. Again, you kind of have to decide what you feel like you need to do with your brows on a minimal day. And then I'm just gonna put a little bit of brow gel in them just to, you know, soften them out and define them a little bit more. Now some more optional parts. If I had time, then I would do bronzer, blush, and highlight. But if I didn't, I would do one of two things. One, I would do a more satiny type of bronzer. So I do a bronzer that has a little bit more life to it and isn't a flat matte and maybe has a little bit of a sheen to it. I would do, you know, a bronzer blush combo type of shade. Or I'd use something like this. This is my Bobbi Brown Shimmer Brick in the shade Sunset Pink. They have different shades of these that are sort of like this idea. I like the bronze one as well for this. And so basically, you know, it's got some bronzy tones, it's got some pink tones, and it's got highlight tones. It's all shimmery, of course. And so I would swirl my brush in and I would just kind of put that on my cheekbones. And so I'd get a little bit of warmth, a little bit of, you know, a flush of, you know, sort of a blush on my cheeks. And I'd also get a little bit of a sheen, a highlight. So I love something like this for days like this where I don't have a lot of time. I do have a little bit of time today because I'm just sort of filming this video for you. So I'm going to do bronzer, blush, and highlight. For bronzer, I'm going to take my NARS Laguna, which actually is a good one for this because it has a little bit of a sheen to it. It's very, very subtle, but it's not a flat matte. And I also feel like I can sort of contour with this just a little bit. Then I just go for sort of a natural, but you know, universal kind of blush that I feel like will go with anything, because at this point I typically haven't decided what I'm wearing, or even if I have, it's pretty casual. So I'm gonna do the Wet n Wild Pearlescent Pink. This is just the old packaging. And again, if I felt like I needed to stop here, this blush has a little bit of a sheen to it, so that's kind of nice too. So if I didn't have time to put on highlight after this, then I could just do that. And the thing with my schedule sometimes is that, you know, because I have a toddler, I could be in the middle of doing my makeup and then have to run and grab her for whatever reason. So, you know, if I needed to stop here, I could. Obviously, I'd love to add mascara in a little bit, but, you know, if I had to skip that, it would be okay. And then I usually will go for a mostly natural highlight. I love highlight, so I say that kind of with a smile because it probably wouldn't be that natural to you. But you know, I really do like to highlight, but I like to keep it a little bit more natural just so that, you know, it doesn't look crazy. And, you know, especially if I don't have a full face of makeup on. So I'm going to do the Cover FX highlight in Moonlight, so this can be a little softer. So that's why I'm going to do that. And if I was pretty tight for time, I would just do a very quick coat of mascara, and then I would maybe put something quickly on the lips. But because I have maybe another minute, then I'm going to conceal my eyelids with a little bit of primer because I definitely have pretty veiny eyelids, and you'll see I'm going to do something very simple that way. But I only do this if I have an extra minute or two. Don't want to just put on the primer and then not do anything besides that, because then it will look kind of weird. So I'm going to put this on. So not that that looks bad. I'd prefer to set that and then add a little something. So I'm going to set it with just a cream shade, you know, sort of like a skin tone shade, so whatever that is for you, just so that it lasts. Then I'm gonna take whatever bronzer I used, so I'll take NARS Laguna, and then I'm gonna put that through my crease. And this is just gonna add a little bit of definition. And then of course I can take my highlight and put it on the inner corners if I had a little time to do that as well. Not a lot, because, you know, I want this to look pretty natural, so I don't want it to, you know, be crazy. Of course I say that, and there I go. And so then I go in with mascara. I really, you know, if I'm gonna do any bit of makeup, I wanna add some mascara just because I like the way that it looks. I feel like it really makes a big difference. Even just to do one coat, even just to do my top lashes, I feel like it makes a big difference. So I'm gonna do that. I'll be right back. See how much of a difference that makes. I feel like that ties it all together. You know, it makes me look a lot more put together. It makes me look like I spent tons of time on my makeup just because I did my lashes. So then there are lips, and this could honestly be as simple as a lip balm, or this could be, you know, a lip, you know, something that is just a tinted balm, something that is bold. I mean, it can be really anything. You know, certainly if I'm going more natural, you know, or more light, then I'm not gonna wear like a bold red. But if I wanted to dress up the look, but I didn't have a lot of time, then that's easy to do. That makes you look like you spent a lot of time on your makeup. I am just going to take a gloss, but that one that has a lot of colors. So it's going to look like I put on a lipstick and a gloss, and it will just make me look more put together. So this is the ABH lip gloss in Peony, just a really pretty pink color. You can see these have a lot of pigments. All right, everyone, so that is it for my minimal mom makeup look. Let me know which steps for you are non-negotiables. You know, for me, I feel like if I'm going to do anything to my face, the corrector is my non-negotiable. That's the one that I have to do. And then probably after that would be mascara. But are you somebody who cannot skip your brows? You know, can you not skip putting on a little bit of bronzer? I'm really curious to hear what you think. If you like this video, please make sure and give it a big thumbs up. That really does help out my channel so much. If you are not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I would love for you to stick around, and I really hope to see you next time. Bye.